So today we're going to be looking at the area of a parallelogram and the area of a triangle. How do you figure out the area of a rectangle? Yes. Length times width, also called what? Base times height. What you use to represent these doesn't really matter. What matters is that you know how to calculate area. What's the area of this? Yeah. 6 units cubed. We don't know what the unit is. This actually happens to be 1 centimeter grid paper, so it would be 6 centimeters cubed. Okay. And how do you know that?
Because the base is 3 and then the height is 2. You spend the times that, and then it equals 1.
How else do you know that? Yes.
You can also count the squares.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the area is just the space within the perimeter. What's the area? Yes.
6 units cubed.
How do you know?
Because you can, the little boxes inside, you can clearly see 4, and then there's 2 halves on either side, and that equals a whole. So
Okay. So this rectangle and this parallelogram both have an area of 6 centimeters squared. Knowing that, how can we use the dimensions of the parallelogram to figure out the area? Dimensions are like length and width and things like that. What are the dimensions of this parallelogram? Okay, 3 centimeters.
5, 2.
What's 2?
The angle on the side.
That's 2? Yes.
Because the square is going up, so you draw like a little. Yeah.
Because if we measure this, the diagonal line is just under 3 centimeters. What you said makes sense. We know that the area is 6 centimeters squared because that's half of a square, and that's half of a square, which equals 1 square. That's half of a square, and that's half of a square, which equals 1 square. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But 3 times 3 equals what? 9 centimeters squared. So the area of a parallelogram equals base times height. Not base times width, but the actual height from the top to the bottom. How can you figure out the height of the top to the bottom when it's not on a handy little centimeter grid? And instead it is drawn on a piece of paper. Okay, but how do I figure out the height?
Use a ruler.
I what?
Use a ruler.
What am I going to measure?
Centimeters.
Sorry?
Centimeters.
Mm-hmm. How am I going to figure out what, like, am I going to measure this?
Yep.
What am I going to measure?
The base, you can extend it out a bit so that you can have something that you can measure off of to the top.
Okay, so I'm going to extend my base a little bit. So I could draw from a line like that. Is that going to work?
You need it to be parallel or vertical.
Which is perpendicular. I need a perpendicular line. Okay, so I'm going to use my ruler to do this. I'm going to line up one of the lines on my ruler, which is perpendicular. And then I'm going to do this. So this has to meet at a right angle in order to be able to figure this out. So I measure that, and that is 19 millimeters. What else do I need? Yeah.
Measure the length.
Okay. So that is 0 to 59.
No, the end of
Oh,
the corner.
I don't use the part where I extended it. I only use the part that is part of the actual figure, which is about 39 millimeters. Now what do I do? Yes.
Times the base by the height.
Is that my answer?
Millimeters.
Millimeters squared. So the area, and usually you'll label your parallelogram, so I'm going to call this A, B, C, D. The area of figure A, B, C, D equals 741 millimeters squared. That's a lot of millimeters. How can I make this easier? Yes.
Turn it into centimeters.
How can I turn it into centimeters? Yes.
The decimal over.
Yeah. Because we're dividing by 10, we move the decimal to the left one spot. So it's 74.1 centimeters squared. How many meters squared is it? And so on and so forth. There are 10 millimeters in a centimeter, which means to go from millimeters to centimeters, you divide by 10. To go from centimeters to millimeters, you multiply by 10. So 10 millimeters equals 1 centimeter. 100 centimeters equals 1 meter. 1,000 millimeters equals 1 meter. Because 10 times 100 equals 1,000. I am going to cut out a rectangle. What is the area of that rectangle? 15, right. Okay, so we have 3 squares here, and we have 5 squares here. 3 times 5 equals 15 centimeters cubed, or we can count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Now I'm going to do some magic. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh my gosh, guys. What? Mine, no.
Now,
That is cool.
what's the area?
What? Didn't it used to be 15?
Yes,
15 centimeters squared.
but I moved it around.
The same thing. Still the same. Still the same. Oh, I know.
But look, there's little diagonals.
Yeah, but those are halves. I know what you did.
Yes.
You took this triangle or whatever, this parallelogram, and pushed it on its side. Now it's a parallelogram, and so it's the same.
More or less. So here, I'm going to move my magic apart a little bit so that we can see. The height is still the same, right? This was the height when it was a rectangle. It's still the height now that it is a parallelogram. The base, although I did this on the top, so let's maybe just turn this around. Blah, blah, blah. Still has all the little pieces to it. The base was 5 there. I haven't taken any part of it away, so when I move it there, the base is still 5. Base times height equals area. And it's always in units squared. You have an area that is 40 centimeters squared. Tell me the base and height. Yes. If I took this here, this parallelogram,
Made it ginormous.
and then turned it like this,
Still a parallelogram.
it's still a parallelogram. Or if I turned it like this,
No.
Yes,
it's still a parallelogram. Okay, so the orientation, the way that it's facing, doesn't actually really matter. Yes. Yeah.
The base could be 2 centimeters long and the height could be 20 centimeters.
Why do you think that?
Because 2 times 20 is 40.
Do you guys agree?
Yes.
Yes.
So the only parallelogram I can have is
No.
2 centimeters
No.
by 20 centimeters.
No.
No.
You can have
Yes.
more. You can do more.
Which would be which?
It doesn't matter.
So base 10 centimeters, height 4 centimeters,
Then you can switch it.
base 4 centimeters,
There's many different
height.
bars.
10 centimeters.
Yes.
Why?
Multiplying it matter. And then, yeah, it doesn't matter.
4 times 10 equals 40 centimeters. 4 centimeters times 10 centimeters equals 40 centimeters cubed. So my parallelogram can look like I don't think I have enough room on this page to do that. Oh. Yeah, I do. Excellent. Thanks.
My name's on that ruler. Oh, wow. It looks like Mario. Yeah.
So we have this parallelogram
Okay.
that is 40 centimeters squared with a base of 2 centimeters and a height. Or we can have this parallelogram, which has a base of 4 centimeters and a height of 10 centimeters. Or that parallelogram, which has a base of 10 centimeters and a height of 4 centimeters. Any questions? Yes. You shouldn't really need to for this. Yeah.